2020 Democratic candidates for president are hoping to get your vote with sweeping policy plans, most carrying hefty price tags. But what happens when taxing income just isn't enough to pay for their promises? Is your pension or retirement savings in danger of being taxed? Economist Romina Boccia of the Heritage Foundation is here. Good morning, Romina.
Good morning.
Look,
Thanks for having me.
As we go through these Dems' wealth tax proposals and they get more and more aggressive, do you really think they're going to touch our retirement savings?
It is always possible. We shouldn't kid ourselves that if you look at the spending proposals that Bernie Sanders, Senator Warren, and others are proposing, those are going to require vastly larger taxes, and not just on the rich. We're talking higher taxes on middle class and lower income Americans. We've done the math, and European-style welfare states charge people making about $40,000 a year $6,000 more than they pay in the United States. So if we're going to move towards a European-style welfare state, we also need to be prepared to pay those higher taxes.
How much, Romina, is out there in, I guess they call it unrealized gains? How much wealth is actually out there that could come under some of these tax proposals?
You know, that's another difficult question. It's actually a very complex question to try and figure that out. And it also depends on how you define that wealth. But what it comes down to is that wealth taxes are a failure, which is why most European countries that have had them have moved away from that. So this is not a direction we want to go into. It requires a huge intrusion into privacy, financial matters that Americans don't need to be sharing with the government.
Yeah, we're looking at one estimate, and they have that number at $3.8 trillion at least. I think when you put art and other assets into that, it gets even bigger. But it begs the question, you know, Bernie Sanders beating up on billionaires, basically saying nobody should be a billionaire. Elizabeth Warren making the argument that being rich, having wealth is immoral. Is narrowing income inequality, is the answer to doing that taxation? There has to be a better policy out there.
Well, let's look at the policies of this president. The tax reform, the deregulation, they have actually narrowed income inequality because the wage gains for the bottom 10th percentile of wage earners have been twice that of the highest 10% of earners. So we're really seeing income gains here for low-wage earners who are seeing their wages go up. They've seen bonuses from the tax cuts in their paychecks. And that's how you solve this problem, through economic growth and by creating job opportunities for these workers, not through redistribution that eats up the economic pie and really cuts into productivity gains, which come from investments in the private sector, from businesses and wealthier individuals.
Well said. Romina Boccia, thank you so much for your perspective today.
Thanks for having me.